it downfield. It is. Oh, it's caught. John Moran in the clutch. Oh, my word. Oh, my God. Deep to right field. Way up there. And way down the sideline. Jefferson. Another huge run. Jalen Red broke tackle. Stayed on his feet.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Blake's Take. Hope you're all having a great day, and you guessed it, everybody. We are starting with the Brooklyn Nets once again, and of course, we got some more injury news that comes with talking about the Nets. James Harden experienced a setback in his hamstring rehabilitation and is now out indefinitely. Harden experienced the setback Monday during an on-court rehab session and had an MRI on Tuesday. Head coach Steve Nash said he just felt it. He didn't fall or stumble or anything out of the ordinary. He just felt something maybe in the ballpark of a strain. Then the scan revealed that he did suffer a setback. So not much more than the disappointment that is given there, and that we have to rebuild and get him going once again. Harden has now missed the Nets' past 6 games. He last played on April 5th against the New York Knicks when he just played for 4 minutes before suffering and rupturing that strain. Harden had been dealing with some hamstring tightness before re-injuring the issue and bringing up the issue once again against the Knicks. He had been progressing well in his rehab and then traveled with the team on his current road trip to continue to ramp up his progress from 3-on-3 to 4-on-4 to hopefully getting back into the game with 5-on-5. But he just got that setback now. And speaking of setbacks, Kevin Durant, who is also out for Brooklyn with a left side thigh contusion or bruise, has had more positive news, though, as his prognosis, according to Nash, is day-to-day. Durant, Harden, and Kyrie Irving have all missed at least 10 games for the Nets this season. No NBA champion has ever had all 3 of their leading scorers in terms of points per game, miss double-digit regular season games, and still win the title. Although shorthanded, these Nets still have to play games and try and find a way to stay at top of the Eastern Conference, and that's what they were doing. But they were facing a team out west, not so much a rival, in the Pelicans and their young squad as they squared it down in Brooklyn. Zion put up 14 in the first half as he led the Pelicans on his 6 of 7 shooting, pushing them up by as many as 13 in the opening half. But Kyrie, Shamit, Blake, and Mr. Joe Harris would all help contribute to a run that helped the Nets creep all the way back to just a 3-point deficit after 2 quarters. Although Kyrie only scored 8 points in the first half, he regrouped and got hot in the second half as he hit a pair of nice shots and then dished out a couple to Joe Harris for a pair of threes and then capped off Brooklyn's 18-6 opening second half run. Big run there by Brooklyn. But Pelicans still have Zion, number 1 pick in the NBA draft a few years back, and of course, he was on point, showing his pure athleticism, shortening to the Pelicans' deficit to just 1 going into the final quarter. Through the final 3 minutes of the game, it was just a square-off between stars, as Kyrie for the Nets and Zion for the Pelicans, with each exchanging a pair of crafty moves. The 2 respectable players then were one-on-one, with the game on the line, but Irving won on the defensive side as he prevented Williamson from getting a good potential game-tying look and hold on for the Nets to win 134-129. And we just hope that more and more of their players can have quick recoveries so we can see the full health roster. But this bench is holding on really well, and Kyrie is really stepping up into a leadership role. Now on to a key close match Western Conference matchup, and the Los Angeles Clippers taking on our hometown Blazers. Unfortunately, it wasn't as entertaining as it should have been in this close matchup, with Damian Lillard and Kawhi Leonard both being out due to injuries, but the game would still go on with PG and CJ squaring it down in the Motor Center. PG and the Clippers would get going in the late first quarter with a 12-3 run filled with some PG dunks and shots, putting the Clippers up 6 going there. But the Blazers found a way to set up a floater with short time left in the quarter for CJ to go up and with a second left to go up 1 going into the second. The Blazers guards kept stepping up in the void of Lillard as CJ posted 12 in the first half, while Norman Powell put up 17, helping the Blazers maintain a hard-fought lead going into the break. PG-13 and the Clippers came out smoother and more aggressive in the third as they outscored the Blazers 30-22 in the third quarter to take a 4-point advantage heading into the final quarter. But Melo would hit two big shots at the start of the fourth to help the Blazers regain the lead, showing some prime Melo moves there. The Blazers would maintain that lead a majority of the way down the stretch to just over 30 seconds remaining, where George would fight through contact to cut the deficit to just one, though. Down to the wire, PG has the ball and draws contact on the drive once again, which sent him to the line with just 4 seconds to go. But it was not Dame time as he was out. So next man up, CJ McCollum got the inbound, drove right, pump fake George, and got a great look for the win. But it bounced just off the back of the rim as the Blazers come just short without Damian Lillard 112-113 as they have now lost to the Clippers for the 6th straight time. Just keep in mind though, they put up this fight without Dame, but also Clippers didn't have Kawhi. So just think if they do have Dame, it could be a great matchup and if they lock down Kawhi, which is a very difficult task. But it definitely could be an interesting playoff series. As far as MLB, we will start off with some real fun games in the MLB at the midweek. Kicking it off, we have the Giants heading out east, facing a big task in the electric Philadelphia Phillies. Mickey Molac got this game started with his first career home run, and it was a big homer, as it was a 3-run shot to the opposite way to put the Phillies up 3-0 in the bottom of the second. Huge there. An RBI single by Buster Posey in the top of the 5th would get the Giants on the board, though. But the Phillies would respond right back in the bottom of the 6th as Nick Mouton got what looks like a base hit to left. But then the left fielder Alex Dickerson misjudged the ball, driving in and giving Mouton a triple out of what should have just been a single. Top of 7 now, Giants would manage to get runners on first and third for Darren Ruff, who came in and ripped one dead center to the bullpens as he tied up the game just like that. Huge home run there by Ruff. Although Dickerson did have that bad misjudge error that cost them a few runs, he redeemed himself with a rip to right center gap that scored a runner from second to take the lead for the Giants. Huge comeback there. But in one swing of Bryce Harper's bat, he tied this game up as he crushed a line drive home run to left center field, getting the Phillies offense hype once again. Bottom of 9 now, Andrew Knapp has a chance to walk it off for the Phillies. He would ground one hard to deep left field, giving Harper enough time to score from second, and an exciting game filled with lots of offensive plays and defensive drama. Phillies win 6-5 and avoid the series sweep. Now let's head to the Rocky Mountains where it was snowing down in Denver as the Colorado Rockies were taking on the Houston Astros. The Rockies had the advantage being used to this kind of weather in April as Trevor Story ripped a ball down the line, scoring 2 runners from second and third, giving the Rockies the 2-0 lead after just the first inning in the snow. But just like that, Yuli Gurriel would barrel one up, driving it deep to left, where it would get over the fence for the 2-run homer to tie this one up 2-2 in the top of 2. Now bottom of 2, lots of 2s. Now Yatan Adazia would respond with a homer himself, as this one was hit more meaningful though, with it being his first career home run. Later that inning, Dom Nunez would get a knock to shallow center to drive in a runner from third on an RBI single that gave the Rockies the 2-run lead once again. Here we go to Nunez again at the plate in the 6th, sitting back and driving one to the opposite gap to tack on to another run and add to his RBI total. The Astros would get a small spark though in the 9th with an RBI ground out by Gurriel in the top of 9 in hopes of getting the 2-out rally late game going. But that was a stretch for Houston players as the snow kept them coming down, sweeping the Rockies into the win and the Astros into the wind, as the Rockies get the 2-game sweep over the Astros. Now to finish off the segment, we have one of the most exciting teams in baseball, if not the most exciting, in the Oakland A's taking on the Minnesota Twins in an extra inning showdown. The Twins had their best man at the plate to start the game in Josh Donaldson, taking the first pitch he saw deep left field and way gone. Matt Olson then finally got a piece of that Kenta Maeda curveball that he had been struggling and took it yard to tie this one up one apiece. The A's would then follow with 2 more runs in that same inning, one coming from an Elvis Arduas RBI single, and the other coming by a passed ball misair. However, Donaldson would get up again and get the green light on a 3-0 pitch, driving one deep to left for another RBI on the day for him. Then the very next batter, Nelson Cruz, get a hanging curveball and just mash it dead left to take the lead. But Matt Olson was on top of Maeda today as he now crushed his fastball in a no-doubter home run to dead center. Another home run for Matt Olson. He was not letting Maeda get the best of him today. In that same inning, Seth Brown would unload on a high fly ball down the line and work its way against the foul pole for another home run for the A's, giving them the 3-run lead. But here we go now to the 5th as Nelson Cruz would get a hold of another high in the zone pitch, taking it deep left center for his second home run of the game. Holy smokes, lots of home runs. The A's defense would then get 2 errors that same inning, allowing Twins runners to walk into home, tying this one up 7-7. The next inning, Nelson Cruz would get a ground out RBI, which was then followed by a Jory Polanco RBI single to drive in Josh Donaldson, and then Williams Astudillo would go down and get the low ball and crack it to left to drive in Polanco and cap off the third 3-run inning of the game for the Twins. But here come the A's in the bottom half of the inning with runners on second and third for Jed Lowry, who had a beautiful double to the gap, bringing in 2 runs to cut the deficit to just 1. Now Matt Olson would then try and keep the rally going and his incredible game going with a rip to left center, but Byron Buxton would come down with the biggest play of the game for the Twins defensively as he prevented the A's from tying the game and getting his team out of the inning with a miraculous catch. Bottom of 9 now, 1 out, Matt Chapman hits a deep liner down the right field line, but just to the right of the foul pole, saving the Twins from almost a 3-run walk-off homer. Whew. But next pitch, Chapman would do the job and get a deep pop out to left as the sac fly sent home a runner for the 10th to send this one into the 10th inning, tied up 10-10. And just as Brian Buxton came in clutch in the outfield, he came in clutch at the dish as he took the first pitch he saw absolutely yard with the moonshot into the stands, putting the Twins up 2 in extra innings. But this part is key as pinch runner Travis Blankenhorn scored on the homer that Buxton hit and stayed in the game, shifting the Twins infield around as he was now at second. Bottom of 10 now, bases juiced for Matt Chapman, who would hit a grounder to none other than Blankenhorn, who would bobble it, who brought Matt Chapman in from third, keeping the game alive. Holy smokes, their big error, big mistake, but they could still stay in it. Bases still juiced. Roman Lorena hits a grounder to Luis Arraez, who fields it in clean ground ball, but airmails the throw to first as the A's walk it off in the bottom of 10th for two very costly Twin errors. The A's get the win in familiar dramatic fashion, 13-12 in their third walk-off of the season, keeping their 11-game win streak alive, becoming the first team in MLB history to start 0-6 and then come back and win 11 straight games later in the season. Wild, exciting baseball this Wednesday around the MLB with a big offenses breaking down the opposing team defenses. As far as local sports, the Warriors softball team needed a bounce back and to get a win over Cascade after back-to-back league losses. The Warriors started the game off well as they got a pair of runs in the second and fourth, as well as 1 run in the fifth to build up a 5-2 lead with just 2 innings to go. But then just like that, Cascade's Kaylee Bode would tie this game with a 3-run shot in the top of the 6th as the pressure was now on for the Warriors as they were tied up. The Warriors would respond to the pressure though with getting Kaylee Sadoff all the way to third to set up a sac fly from Reagan Larson that gave the Warriors the lead once more. Emily King would follow with a single to right and would be driven in by Annika Tyron to give the Warriors a 2-run edge heading into the final inning. Top of 7, the Cougars would get their first 2 batters on with singles for themselves, and they would each advance on a base off of a sac bunt. This all comes down to Kaylee Bode to the plate with a chance to hit another 3-run bomb, try and walk off the game, but that chance was shut down as Ashlyn Barron came down with the grab on Bode's pop out to seal the deal for the Warriors. Warriors hang on to a 7-5 victory, being backed up by Combs and Tyron on the bump while getting 5 separate individual hits. Big win there. Sketchy and definitely intense game, but the Warriors did well under the pressure, and I wish them luck in their upcoming games. So thank you for tuning in to another episode of Blake's Take. Hope you enjoyed all the NBA stuff going around the association. Fun games there, and definitely all the wildness in the MLB. Huge fun games there. It's been fun to watch baseball, at least in the offensive side. It's hard on the defensive side when they're not making as many plays and definitely making a lot of errors because they're not used to balls getting hit there, and they're most just either pop-ups or home runs. But it'll get better. And then, of course, congratulations to the Warriors softball team on a great win. So all around great stuff, and you can catch all of it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and or YouTube in the coming future. And I'll see you all in the next one.